Filmmatic.
You're here first again!
Again?
Again!
Better be punctual.
Excellent.
Can't wait.
Why did you have to come back again this year?
It's Sins. Why not?
What are you gonna see? What are you looking forward to seeing?
This year, everybody. Yeah, definitely everybody this time. It's back in town. Might as well be here for it. Help support the underground and independent cinema.
Morning.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Come back here and
Yeah,
the chairs have totally.
Yeah, I think I might.
We might lose some of these chairs.
yeah, definitely. Going over there or wherever.
What's your name?
Jeff.
Oh, very moving.
Take a shot.
You don't have to get all of this stuff, but
Do you want the whole banner?
No, this is fine.
take another one.
You like that one?
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm the vendors that are supposed to be here. They're not even here yet. Really? Yeah. There's still more coming? Yeah.
This is going on the raffle table.
Wait, what did you say about it?
He said that's going on the raffle.
1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3.
What's up, man? So this is Slaughter in Syracuse.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
You can't see him. That's Nick DeCarlo.
It's Nick DeCarlo, formerly Farmer Vincent, formerly some other guy who was an IT guy before he got involved in this horror stuff.
Nick.
Yes.
For a second. Let's hear your brilliance up here.
What do you need?
Talking to the mic, my friend.
Test, talking into the mic, test.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing.
How are you doing
I'm
today?
doing good, besides being very stressed out, caffeinated.
You ready to cause some nightmares, some daydreams?
I'm ready to, yeah, definitely.
You look sexy.
Ready to slaughter Syracuse.
You look ready to slaughter Syracuse? All right,
Second time.
Second time.
Why does he have agony on right now?
He shouldn't have. It should not be agony.
That's what we...
No, the intro disc.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
Supposed to be the intro disc coming up.
Test. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing.
He said he wanted to have something that says slaughter on it.
Oh, okay. Thank you, dude.
We're good.
We're good.
Fucking good. So be able to record the panels on here. You'll have all the audio for them.
Awesome.
You can record. You can set, cut them off separate and do whatever you want with it.
Awesome.
We only have, we got just 2 mics.
So we got a couple minutes.
That's it. There you go. That's it.
Right now, I'm like, I love you. Later on, we'll be like this. Yeah.
So we'll start off with Nitro, then Agony, then Intro. Intro.
Nitro?
Nitro. It looks like Nitro. The lettering looks like an N.
WCW Nitro.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna announce the beginning.
The NWO will come out.
Right. We're gonna show Magic Mike. Kevin Nash is gonna come in.
Bad guys. Razor.
Go ahead, grab it. You both can grab the mics. Good. Away you go.
We good? We're good. I mean, I guess this is as good as it's getting right now. Everyone's still sleeping, probably, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. Check.
Hello? Good? Is yours good?
I'm good.
Alright. Well, thanks guys. Thanks for coming out again. Here too. This fest, there's a lot of shit that happened this year compared to last year. I mean, it's a bigger fest this year. It's a 3-day fest, but I was in the hospital for 2 months. Like Nick, hello? Alright. Nick kind of stood up and took hold of a lot of this stuff. I didn't really have capability of doing anything when I was in a coma, so Nick kind of helped out with that. On top of that, we've had family deaths. We've had his mom's in the hospital right now. My grandfather just died on Wednesday. So it's been up and down, the whole thing, but I'm glad that it's here. I'm glad you guys are here. And I'll let Nick talk a little.
But yeah, man, this is the 2015 Slaughter of Syracuse. I mean, our second annual one. As far as sales, we doubled what we had the first year, which is a huge accomplishment for us. I don't know. This whole thing has been nuts. It's like so hard to reach out to such a minority, but when you bring that minority together, it's just, there's a lot of strength behind it. And today we have everybody from Ryan Logsdon, who's a first-time film director, all the way through to an Eric Stanze, who's been in the game forever.
By the way, Ryan is like the nicest fucking guy on planet Earth. Like, you guys need to learn a lesson from this guy. But
I should make an announcement that as of right now, we have not heard from Arthur Culver or Shane Beasley.
not even heard of him.
All right, well, they're here, so that's good. All right, my heart rate just slowed down, so that's cool.
Has anyone seen Tantrum yet in here? No? You guys are in for a fucking treat, because from Dog Dick to Manuer to Tantrum, James fucking killed it on this new movie. So, you guys are in for a super treat with that.
Can I get down?
Shy?
No.
Shy?
Thanks for coming.
Well, we're going to be showing Ryan Logsdon's Agony as soon as we get the disc in. Ryan, first-time director. Dude, these people are here for you, instead of you being here always supporting everybody else with the change. So enjoy it, my friends.
Hi, I'm Ryan Vincent Logsdon, the director of Agony, which premiered, made its world premiere here at Slaughter in Syracuse 2015. Basically, I'm friends with Nick, and he got a copy of the original 42 pressing that I did, and he really liked it, and he thought it was a solid, B, he said, and, the rest is history. He wanted to release it and show it on the big screen here. Nick may correct me on this, but I was probably one of the first people in Beneath the Underground, and I was definitely, I've known him through, I only got the internet in about 2009, so I was a little late to the game with the internet, but basically, through reviews and everything like that, meeting similar people, that's how I got to know and talk to him as Farmer Vincent, and you know what I mean, and then he became Nick to me, and now we're really good friends.
Yo, why is what's up with that camera?
It's a love letter to independent cinema, underground horror, and to Toe Tag Inc. or Toe Tag Pictures, whatever you want to call them.
I really enjoyed his film, and it's always special when, you know, our movies influence other filmmakers. And I think, you know, I was influenced from other filmmakers, and it's so great to see, like, our film, you know, Ryan acknowledging us being inspirations for him to make his movie Agony. So it's really special.
Without a doubt, August Underground and August Underground's Penance, I always say toe tag, or the Sir Edmund Hillary of the snuff found footage genre, whatever you want to call it, faux snuff. They've climbed Mount Everest. They can go no higher. You know, they are the biggest, you know what I mean? So it's only like basically just showing them, you know what I mean? Like, this is just my love letter to what you guys have been able to accomplish, and Penance is without a doubt, it's in my top 10 favorite horror films of all time. I love that movie more than anything.
So that's why you chose to do the found footage.
It was that and another movie called Poughkeepsie Tapes that I was really influenced by, but it was definitely for all the toe tag stuff. It was, you know, August Underground and August Underground's Penance.
Why did you decide you have a cold? I mean, it's a cold open, goes straight to the footage. No prologue, no epilogue, no title credits, no
ending credits.
No ending credits. So I mean, what was your thinking besides that? Why did you make that decision?
Oh, basically to add a little bit of, what is that, verisimilitude, you know, try to add a little bit of reality to it, and I thought, and it's working. I mean, people were saying that, you know, the burn that's always in the movie, it always says property of the Agoni County District Attorney's Office, and like the burn is actually helping, it's not annoying. You know what I mean? It's not. It actually adds to like the authenticity of it. So that's the reason I chose to do no opening credits, no closing credits, and basically just right at you. You know what I mean? Begin and end, just like how Fred would say any personal video camera would just turn on and then turn off. You know what I mean? It's whenever they felt like picking up the camera.
Oh, I haven't brought that out in a while.
Well, I've been a writer for about, give or take, 10 years. I write all the time, but I've written different things and different reviews, and I always write screenplays and stuff. And whenever I write a story, it always takes place in a fictional town, including up to college, in a town called Agoni, Pennsylvania, because I was in Lancaster, and they have like, in Lancaster they have towns like Bird in Hand, Blue Ball, Essex, you know, Intercourse, and I thought to myself, I was like, Agoni, Pennsylvania could fit perfectly in there, in this like kind of like farming community with all these kind of like weird names, and I was like, that is where I picture Agoni. That's why even the opening shot is very, you know, kind of like this beautiful kind of like farmlands, and I always thought that that would be like a perfect kind of like, because you see a lot of these movies and it's kind of like serial killer movies in the big city and stuff like that, and I kind of wanted to make it more about rural, you know what I mean, and kind of like sort of play off of that. And to me, it's a fake town that exists somewhere in Lancaster, around the Lancaster region.
Okay, so Agony is a story that exists in a universe you've already established.
Oh yeah.
Stories that you've told.
Actually, characters that I actually know. If you were to go, I know Maxwell Edison. Maxwell Edison is the character I play, the lead character in Agony. And I know his backstory from A to Z. And basically what I showed in my debut feature would be about, you know, maybe J to maybe S, you know, so I chose to specifically focus in on that, but I still have all the other things in the back of my mind with other characters that I've written about, intertwining and stuff like that. It's just what I do. So
we will see more stories from you.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, it may not be like, I recently wrote a script that is supposedly going to be shot on film, and it takes place in Agony, but it has nothing to do with the found footage. It's a very kind of like love letter to the guinea pig movies, and to especially Mermaid in a Manhole, which is one of my favorite films of all time, horror films of all time. And so Agony will always exist, but necessarily like the property of the Agoni County District Attorney, it may come back. It may come back, you know what I mean? But at this point, you know what I mean? I'm saying it's a possibility. So, but Agony will always exist because that's what I always write about.
So you've said you've written something for another director will be filming?
This is, like I said, there's nothing set in stone. I don't like to usually talk about things, but it's just like weird directions. Like at any moment I could start production on the sequel to Agony, which I have written because I have the whole story and everything like that. But I kind of want to take it in a little bit different direction. And I'd like to work with my friends. And a lot of my friends, they're starting to experiment with film and stuff like that. And, you know, if you come up with an idea that can be shot for 10 days in a single room in a single apartment, you know what I mean? It's worth it to shoot on film because you can control it. can control it a lot better. But you know, I'm leaving that up to other people who know more about film and processing and everything like that. I try to just write it down. That's
but
it.
Your next film will be a continuation of the character you portrayed.
Possibly. And I was going to say my next written project, though, is definitely going to be in the Agoni universe. And maybe Maxwell shows up. You never know. That's why I say I don't want to spoil anything. But there's some interesting things coming up, at least in my opinion, and some other people's too.
What was your biggest challenge making Agoni your first film?
Basically realizing that everything is probably going to go not the way you plan. And the biggest challenge was probably getting everybody to kind of be on the same page when it came to like scheduling, and you know, really trying to get the actors in place and everything like that, like natural problems that people have. But I would say the biggest problem was the weather changing, because I was shooting in the summertime, and then in northeastern Pennsylvania, once the winter hits, it's winter for forever. It basically feels like it. So you basically have to wait for the frost to melt. But the cool thing is I got to take advantage of and sort of put in the beginning of the movie and sort of put it like winter happens, almost like it's like spring, then almost like it moves into winter, and then it comes back to summer. So like it actually worked out for me, at least in the way I put the scenes together.
Were there any challenges shooting in the found footage format?
Oh, without a doubt. In one of the scenes, I'll give you an example. One of the scenes I had to cut short because one of the actors, who's not an actor, he's just a friend of mine, we kind of did like kind of a close-up on his face, and you could definitely, he's supposed to be dead, you can definitely tell he's blinking, and it was just a mess up, you know what I mean? So like there was little, like challenges like that, and then basically just like trying to continually keep the continuity in check, or trying to at least.
Now, did you have a lot of challenges with being in the format, being long scenes, and making sure?
Challenges, yes. The long takes, it was kind of the discovery of it and kind of the blocking out. Somebody asked me if just recently if I wrote out all the scenes and how the blocking of the scene and how the action was going to happen. Yes and no. I basically would just show up at a location and I would have an idea for a scene, and then I would figure out the lighting and figure out what to show and what not to show. So there were challenges every single time we set up. You know what I mean? It would have to be in the dead of winter time, you know, having to kill the heat because you'd hear, you know, the heating going on. You know what I mean? Like you'd actually hear it over the the motor for the camera. And so like in order to, you know, you had to overcome some of those obstacles.
How were you able to stage the camera work but still make it feel like it's the found footage, the realistic?
One rehearsal, and give the actors the best direction you can possibly give them, because you are in fact, you know, you're the last man standing. You are the person, and you are the person in the end who is going to be the one carrying this project. And that's basically, that's the only thing I can answer with that.
So how long was it before you said it's time for me to do this?
It's a time to make a movie. Well, like I said, I've always written, and then I kind of fell out of touch with some people. We were supposed to make another movie a couple years ago. You know, this is all like sitting around talking, you know, we're gonna do this, and it almost got to the point of like getting a budget together, but then it fell apart. And what happened was, and not to get anything too personal, but I did have a little bit of a medical issue. Everything is, you know, good now, but I decided that I wanted to make a movie and get it done and finish it, and I really pushed to finish Agoni and to get it in order to the first copies. There were 42 copies I made by hand. They didn't even match up, you know what I mean? Like, it was just handmade copies, and I gave it out there because I really just was like, it was a dream of mine and I wanted to continue it.
I know that we're gonna end up having panels at the end after Scrapbook, but I just wanted Ryan to maybe say a couple words about the movie and
take that one.
Yeah, the world premiere of Agoni.
What'd you guys think?
I just want to thank you all for sharing this with me, and I'm very emotional right now. I want to thank Nick, Jason, every one of you motherfuckers for coming out. you're my friends, my family, and I just want to dedicate the world premiere to my parents and to Fred and Shelby Vogel, my idols over there, and thank you again, and you know, let's keep fucking doing this.
After this, we're going to be showing James Bell's world premiere of Tantrum. A film that, James is growing from Dog Dick, The White Trash Holocaust, to Manuer, to now to this. His progression has been nothing short of amazing to watch. And we're honored to have him here. He's one guy. He's just very similar to Ryan Logsdon. Very humble. He's very appreciative, and it fucks me up and bugs me out that you meet these guys who make these insanely sick fucking movies, and they're the sweetest guys you ever want to meet. So
he's really worried that you guys won't like it. So when you're done watching it, go up to him and tell him how fucking awesome it is.
Or go up to him and tell him it fucking sucks.
Yeah. Tantrum, everyone.
So Tantrum's up next. Oh, I should mention Slings, because the movie, you'll see, the music was cultivated for the scenes that the band was sent, and then James Bell reverse engineered it where he filmed the movie to string along with the parts of the music that he wanted to use. So it's a very unique collaboration for this short film. So enjoy it. Enjoy Tantrum.
Hi, my name is James Bell, and I made Dog Dick, Manuer, and the film Tantrum. But yeah, Jason and Nick asked me if I wanted to screen Tantrum, and I said yeah. And they contacted me when I was pretty early in production and stuff like that, and kind of showed them the film throughout while making it and stuff. So I don't know, they kind of got to see the film being made, and they're also friends with Dan and Ryan and Bob, so they saw the music end also coming together. So I don't know, they pretty much just got to witness the film being made, the whole project coming together. So from just witnessing it, I think that influenced, or by screening today.
He's dead.
No, he's not dead.
He says when he's down.
Well, I always wanted to make films, and I just would be videotaping my life, anyways, and I just started putting it all together, and it's really inspired by numerous films, ranging from Gummo to Faces of Death to bum fights even. But yeah, it was just something I made. I didn't really have a plan for it when I made it. I really didn't think anyone was ever gonna see it. So
what did the people who were involved, they had their lens on, what were they thinking that you were doing?
Oh, they didn't think anything of it, just because I always would be just holding cameras and pointing them and recording everybody, so it just seemed like nothing. They never thought I was going to do anything with any of it. When I said I was making movies, they were just yeah, sure you are. So, well, here it is.
What do they think now?
Most of them, a lot of them are dead. So yeah, not much.
Has there been any reaction? You're putting your lens on these real people. What's been the reaction to that?
Oh, I've had quite a mixed reaction. Some people like it, and other people don't really like it very much. But I don't know. It was just something I did back then. But
some people, I'm not saying, and that's not my opinion, some people might think there's a fire truck passing by. But did anyone say it was, did anyone feel it was exploitive?
Oh yeah, I got quite a bit of threats and quite a bit of negative backlash over Dog Dick and the content of it and stuff, but
what's your thoughts behind doing that?
I thought it was perfectly fine because I didn't really have like a malicious intent with the footage as I was like editing it and stuff like that. A lot of like what people mistook as being something where I was like looking down upon the person, but in all reality, like the whole film, like it's supposed to like turn where you don't like me in the end of like watching it. Like it was supposed to like where you're supposed to like, kind of hard to explain, but like the whole intent with like everything is like the main character of Dog Dick is actually myself, which you're supposed to actually really hate me by the time you're done watching the movie. So
that worked to some effect.
Yeah, it did. Well, like Manuer, like I wrote that screenplay like originally it's written with much more cast and stuff, but I condensed it down for what I ended up filming. But I wanted to do something that was like more like effect oriented and more just something where it wasn't simply me just filming people on the street, something where it took a little bit more of an effort. And I don't know, it's kind of like, and it is a film I always wanted to make also. So.
What was the biggest challenge from going from that documentary style to the narrative style?
Well, with Manuer, like, I really didn't have like any help like at all. So like a lot of things were like really frustrating to like activate the effects and like get everything to like work right, and like I also didn't know like if the film was even gonna work in the end, because like my previous film was basically filming homeless people and dead animals, so like there was nothing that actually was out there that proved that I could actually even like make Manuer. So yeah, it's a big change from like Dog Dick, but Manuer kind of still kind of has like the same feel, and the subject matter is pretty much kind of about the same type of thing, so I don't know. I didn't really think too much about that. I just kind of just made it and hope that people liked it. With Tantrum, it doesn't have it does have a narrative story. Like there is a story and there is like a plot behind the whole film, but I didn't really reflect much on other things when I was making it. I just kind of just took the focus. I like bought new well, they're not new cameras, but I bought different cameras for like this project, and I just wanted it to just kind of just be its own thing that just kind of stood away from like the other two, even though it's kind of similar to Manuer more than Dog Dick, but it's not really like Dog Dick at all.
You're the lead in Dog Dick. You're the lead in Tantrum. You're central to it. Is there a reason why you need to be on both, for you to be on both sides of the camera?
Because I don't really know that many people. Basically, yeah. I don't have anybody else that will act and do things that I ask them to. And I guess if I act and just do like all this like whatever stuff, you know, like I won't be that big of a dick if I'm asking somebody else, you know, to like do something crazy later on down the road. I guess maybe it just, I don't know, since I already did it, you know, it's not like I'm asking somebody to do something that I haven't already done. Oh yeah, this part where I light my head on fire, but I'm wearing a mask, and I knew that was like something I wanted to like film from like the beginning and stuff like that. And my wife was kind of opposed to it just because of the safety reasons. So like she actually insisted that I had like a third person there with us that day. And Alex Murphy, aka Ricky Short, he came out and like helped and supervised over everything, made sure.
So there were safety precautions?
Yeah, there was slightly safety precautions when we did that, but really not that much.
How did that feel?
It was fine. Like those masks that I made are actually like really thick. I had no idea it was on fire, and I think we lit it on fire 5 or 6 times, and because I wasn't using like gasoline or anything, I was like just using a spray accelerant. And so, I don't know.
And you did say your wife's in your film?
Yes, she's in Manuer and Tantrum. She wanted to like work on it too. Like when I explained to her like about the film from like the very beginning, like she was on board with like wanting to make it, and so I would have used her even if like we weren't married and she wasn't just always home, so we could always film things. So
you have a partner who shares your vision?
Yeah, she understood, like, because originally like Tantrum like in the first beginning was gonna be something much different than what it turned out to be. But that's like a good thing, because originally it was going to be like just 20 minutes of the same thing over and over and over again. And that wouldn't have flown. But with the soundtrack and Dan and the Slings like providing me like music, it just like evolved into like more than what it was.
So she was fine with you setting your head on fire. Has she ever pulled you back on anything?
I had this one idea that I was gonna do, and I'm pretty glad I didn't do it. But I was gonna throw dead animals at hookers. And yeah, she said I couldn't bring hookers to the garage and beat them with dead animals and film it, so that I didn't do, so maybe it's best that I didn't.
So what's next for you?
My next project's this film called Nutsack that I wrote a very long time ago. It's a feature film, and gonna be starting filming with that within the next couple days, so it's gonna be pretty fun.
How do you see that in comparison to the films you've already made? I mean,
Nutsack's gonna be, it's more structured than the other ones, but it's very much different than everything else. Like, it's kind of hard to explain before it's already made, but it's just been a film I've wanted to make for a long time, so.
You do all your own art here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, What were you first?
I didn't do this. This is Jimmy Squarejaw's art.
Which one? Just remind me.
This I didn't do any of my cover art.
Okay, but you do art besides filming.
Yeah.
What was first for you? Was it that art or filmmaking?
Yeah, it was probably like painting and sculpting first because I didn't own cameras. Like I've always wanted to make films, and I used to like go around and just take pictures of things, and somehow I thought like photographs would later on, like there's a lot of that in Dog Dick, like old photos, because like I thought that like photographs would like somehow work in a way of film later on down the road. I don't know what I was thinking, but like I'd take like hundreds of pictures of the same thing, and I maybe one day I'll go through all the photos and like do something with all that stuff, but yeah, it's pretty much like sculpting and painting, and photography was first because I didn't own video equipment, and I thought it was kind of unattainable, like actual like filmmaking for somebody who wasn't rich. I worked with Polaroid cameras, and so really, I don't know, maybe just like the simplistic and like primitiveness of like the older cheap cameras that I used to be able to get, because I never had like any cameras with interchangeable lenses. I still don't have one, but I don't know, maybe, I don't know, just like I was just always used to just working with like this old junk that it's kind of just been like what I prefer even now. Like if somebody like offered me like a fucking GL2 or one of those Black Magic or Black Jacks or whatever the fuck they're called, I'd grab that GL2 in a second, even though I know it's like 1/8 of the price of the other camera. But it's just what I prefer. I don't really want the flashy shit, I guess. I don't know.
The brilliant thing about James Bell is he doesn't shy away from it. He knows that he's offending his audience. He leaves himself wide open to be asked questions about why he chooses to put the imagery that he does in his films. And he just keeps progressing right through and pushing right through, and the things that he's been told are the most offensive are the things that he'll mockingly, obviously, throw in films just to get a reaction or to satisfy something in his own vision. So I give it up to James Bell. I give it up to DeTitta, Bob Fleischer, Ryan Trimmer, the band Slings, who did the score for the whole movie, which is available on the Underground table. What do you guys think? Good?
Hey, I'm DeTitta. My band is called Slings. We did all the soundtrack for James Bell's Tantrum.
So how did you become part of that project?
We had recorded a track probably a year before he even started it, and we had it saved. And we were trying to send it to somebody else to see if anybody wanted it for a film. And I knew that James was doing Tantrum, and I sent it to him, and he got back to me within probably 10 minutes. And was like, can I use it like for the trailer? I'll probably have the trailer out next week. And then he was like, can you send more stuff? So we ended up doing more stuff and sending it to him as he was, doing his stuff. So
and I think I heard that he ended up like cutting the film or planning the film almost around your...
Yeah. Originally, once he had heard like two of the songs, he apparently had a lot of dialogue in the film that he just scrapped and started to construct it around the music. And then we were doing the same thing. We didn't have any really footage. I think we had like 5 or 6 minutes that he sent, and we were recording, doing like one takes of things, and we recorded it with a cell phone with an exterior mic to make it so that the sound was even like more a little bit downgraded because we knew kind of like what it was going to look like, so it would just maybe match up, but we had no idea if, like how it was going to match up. So it was kind of like this weird experiment. He didn't really know what we were doing, except he'd get the songs after we were done, and we didn't really have like more than 6 minutes of footage. So he was never where we were never where he was. It was just all done through emails.
So that, knowing that that was going to help shape his film, that didn't inform your process in any way?
It did. I mean, it did, because from the footage we had, and from what he wanted, because we said, well, do you want to shape it, any way, or make it darker, the tones, or anything? He said, no, keep it exactly like the first, track, the idea, and we just kept doing that, and we just kept thinking, all right, well, let's just do just a lot of just repetition and just do it and go in every single direction, and just nothing was planned. We didn't plan any of the songs. We would just maybe like start a note and then just keep going. Nothing was done with computers, nothing. It was literally like one of the people in the band just sits on the floor with like pedals and like manipulates them in real time, so that it just, so we were like, well, that's kind of like what he's doing. We just wanted to match it. Like we were just hoping it was gonna work and he was gonna like it. And he sent it and it was cut, and it just happened to work.
So, did you see anything in his film that you go, I can see this? You saw the visual representation of your music? Like what stood out for you in his film? That is.
Well, I've been a huge fan of this film since he put out Dog Dick, his first film, and I love that film. And I would always think, well, it would be so cool to soundtrack this movie. Like, there's no music in the movie, but and it had such a surreal kind of like gummo feel to it, and we're all familiar with his, Manuer and that film. We just kind of just did it. We were like, we know his kind of style, and we just did it that way.
Have you ever worked with a filmmaker before?
No. I work in film, but I haven't soundtracked.
What work do you do in film?
I work in set dressing and decorating in films in New York City. Like I'm going back Tuesday on the new Jennifer Lopez Ray Liotta show that they're shooting right now. But doing stuff like Birdman. We did that. We've done so many, Peter Jackson, Lovely Bones, just tons of stuff.
Do you see yourself collaborating with James again, or?
It would be great. It would be amazing. It was so much fun, and it was great. I mean, he gave us really complete freedom, and he really genuinely liked everything we sent him. And it was like minimum 10 minutes up to like 25 minutes of takes of just stuff, and he would cut it the way he would want it to fit. So it just worked that way. It was just like we didn't know if it was going to work. We were hoping it would, and it did. And it came out. He did such a good job putting it together.
What's your band? Where can we hear it?
It's called that's Slings right now. The only thing that's out is it's limited. That's put out by Beneath the Underground, and it's limited to 55. It'll be on the Beneath the Underground website after this. So we were selling it here first with the premiere of Tantrum, and then it'll be available on the website.
Is that, unless I'm mistaken, is that the first soundtrack that Beneath the Underground is released?
Yeah, it's the first one. Yeah. Nick released it through Beneath the Underground, and he decided to just release it. And these are all the tracks that aren't cut, so it's long. It's an hour long. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And have you seen some new people come to your music because of what they've heard of it?
Yeah, like in the 20-something years that I've been playing, like this is the most that people have PM'd and come up and talk to me. It's pretty crazy.
Did you ever expect you were going to be part of this community because of that?
No. No, not really. No, it was just something completely different, and it wasn't even it's just a band. It's no drums. It's not structured. So it was just, and we've been in so many structured regular bands. It was like you're lucky if you have one person that likes it, But this is like people just really responding, well.
Yeah. Congratulations.
But now we have our headliner. 15 years ago, we're going to take a little trip back in time. Is Eric Stanze here? There he is. Eric, you want to come up and give an introduction to your film?
Before he does, I worked for Sub Rosa for 9 years almost. Eric Stanze was the first I ever watched, and the progression from Savage Harvest, Life from the Sun, Scrapbook, I mean, this dude has killed it. So we're really happy to have Eric here. I haven't met him yet. This is my first time meeting him, so very appreciative of him and Jason and Jackie coming out. So I hope you guys, has anyone not seen Scrapbook in here? Yeah, 2 people? All right, so yeah, real treat for you guys. So here's Eric.
Hi, thanks for being here. Scrapbook's been in release for about 15 years, and in that span of time, if best I can recall, it's only screened in public maybe 2 or 3 times, so this is a really rare occurrence. And I've never seen it screened in a place like this nice, classic, beautiful theater, so this is a real thrill for me. And I want to thank Jason and Nick for doing this weekend and inviting me to participate. It's very, very much appreciated. And also, because this movie has been in release for a while, we've made this movie a while ago, and it still kind of floors me that people are still interested in this movie, and still the new people are still seeking it out, and people are still talking about it. That really does still floor me, and I don't take it for granted, and that includes all of you guys here today and everybody who came out to Slaughter in Syracuse. It's like, I don't take it for granted. It means a great deal to me, and I just want to thank all of you beautiful deviants for being here. My name is Eric Stanze, and I directed Scrapbook, which is screening tonight, and Ice from the Sun, and Ratline, and Deadwood Park, and the upcoming In Memory Of.
So this is the 15th anniversary edition
of Scrapbook. Yeah.
How does this differ from the original?
Well, the version of the movie, if you've seen the U.S. release, it's the same. I know a lot of people overseas have seen the version that was put out in the UK, which is like 17 minutes shorter. So we're obviously not showing the cut European version. We're showing the US version, but it's the same content in the movie. But what's exciting for us is this is only, to the best of my memory, I think this is only screened in public twice before this, and never in a place like this, a theater like this. So just the fact that it's on the big screen and it's such a cool theater, and also just this event is amazing, and it's the right people putting the event on, the right fans coming to see it. It's just all the right elements coming together, and it's very special for us. We're very much looking forward to seeing it on the big screen.
So I'm guessing from your t-shirt, did you get involved? Did Nick get you involved?
Yes, he did. Nick contacted me maybe 2-3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. And we just kind of started, he was interested in our movies, interested in help spreading the word, and I liked the guy, and we became friends, and then he asked about, I'm still a little, it's still settling in for me that 15 years after the original release of Scrapbook, people are still talking about it and interested in seeing it. And it was Nick's suggestion. Nick asked if we'd be interested in it screening as part of this, and I was still kind of like, really, why Scrapbook? That's an old movie. And I don't know, he just kind of like sold me that there were people still talking about this movie and would like to see it on the big screen, and he kind of like opened my eyes up to that, and yeah, that's part of why he's the reason that we're here, and definitely a reason why. One of the reasons why I'm starting to kind of settle into this idea that 15 years later people are still interested in this little movie we made a ways back. So
why are you so surprised by your place?
Well, that still surprises me. I think it's because when we go into making a new movie, it's really just, we kind of like shut out the rest of the world, and it's about trying to satisfy ourselves as artists first and foremost. And you know, I kind of look at each movie as they're finished, like evaluate them. Did we succeed? Where did I fall short as a filmmaker? And I kind of like am so passionate about the craft that's where I zone in on, like, you know, what did I do wrong? What can I do better next time? That kind of thing. And then it seems like out of nowhere, after a movie's been out a little while, that people start talking to me and they, oh, I saw this movie, I saw that movie, and or I love your films or whatever, and it's still kind of like a foreign, I don't know, it's hard to kind of put into words. It's still weird because we're making the movies, just trying to make the best movies we can, and then to kind of realize that there's a fan base and that people have been following our movies for years. It's still kind of like it's odd. I've been doing this a while, and that's still kind of hard to digest. There are still people out there who will just seek out the next thing that we make, and it's cool. And with that realization of, oh, this has happened, then it kind of all clicks, and I realize, well, that's why we are able to keep doing what we're doing, because fans are appreciative and that people like what we're doing, and you know, then it's a joy to realize, okay, in addition to making this movie for ourselves, we gave something to this really incredible fan base of fans of truly independent movies.
So let's go back. How did you get started?
I've pretty much been doing this since I was a teenager and gained access to the family Super 8mm film camera. And I don't remember a time when I was thinking, oh, I'd go into a different line of work, or I'd become something else. And then it's not like I was thinking, oh, I'd become this, and then switch gears and decided I'd be a filmmaker instead. I've been doing this since I was ridiculously young, so it's great that I've been able to kind of take what I was passionate about as a kid and use that to start, you know, actually have a career in it. And it's not just the movies, but it's like, you know, my first job that I got at a TV station, I was 18 years old and worked at a video production company, and now I do a lot of freelance editing and working on like little short documentaries and that kind of stuff, and it's great that I've been able to take what I love, earn a living at it, and then in that process still be able to make the movies that I make. So this has been what I've been doing for my entire life. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint where I got started, because I probably got started when I was, you know, 6 or something like that.
So what inspired you to make your first feature film?
The first student feature film that I made, which is terrible, I was working on little short movies with, you know, my friends in the backyard and stuff when I was in high school, and I think that it was a combination of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead and Lloyd Kaufman, Toxic Avenger, and just seeing those movies back in the video boom, seeing that they were rough around the edges, so you didn't have to make a slick Hollywood mainstream movie. You could make something else and pull it off, and they had enough rough edges that I thought, well, they clearly didn't have a lot of money, so I could maybe do something like that without a lot of money. Movies like Don't Look in the Basement, and a lot of the, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and a lot of these kind of high points in movies made outside of the Hollywood studio system were very impactful. The early films of George Romero, these things just kind of like, I don't know, planted the seed in my head, and I decided I want to try that. And Made a couple of student feature films that are really awful, and then my first professional movie with a big emphasis on the quotes was Savage Harvest, and just have been going non-stop ever since. Savage Harvest, I was still trying to be Sam Raimi, and I didn't have a voice as a filmmaker. I didn't know how to have a voice as a filmmaker. I just wanted to try it and do something that came close to, a movie by one of my heroes type of thing. And after Savage Harvest, I hated that movie for years. Hated it. And I thought, oh my God, I'm a terrible filmmaker. This is a big old pile of crap. And then, in recent years, people who like that movie have told me that they like it and why they like it, and I've learned to embrace it. But at the time, I despised it. And part of what I tried to do with Ice from the Sun was just do something where I'm throwing all the rules out in an effort to kind of find my voice as a filmmaker. So I just started throwing paint on the walls, and I knew it was going to be chaos, but I felt that I needed that experience to start finding my voice as a filmmaker and start making my own movies instead of movies where I'm just kind of emulating my heroes.
So, at the time you were feeling good about Savage Harvest, what brought you back to Savage Harvest?
Jason Christ brought me back to Savage Harvest. He was not new to the team, but new-ish, right? And he was a huge Savage Harvest fan. He liked the movie way more than I did. And he was not someone he wasn't on our team when we made it. He was not, I met him afterwards, and he was very passionate about the movie, and then he just came to me and pitched an idea for Savage Harvest 2 that he wanted to write, and first I was just kind of like blown away that somebody would even want to make a sequel to this shitty little, Sam Raimi ripoff thing that I made when I was 21, 22 years old. And so I remember the first thing I said to him was, if we do this, I'm not going to direct it. And I think he had it in mind that he would direct it anyway, so that was fine by him. And it was his passion for it where I was like, okay, let's go ahead and do this. And it was a wonderful experience just seeing somebody kind of take something that I did when I was much younger and build something on it, both because he's a very good filmmaker, a very creative person, but also it was just, an interesting experience seeing somebody build on something that I wasn't that appreciative of, build on it with their own passion. So it was really cool to have Jason come on and pitch that idea and then follow through with it and make that sequel. There's a part of me that I know I have my head around the movie, and I want to be in control of it because there are very specific things that I want to see when we're making this movie. So on some levels, I'm like, no, this is the way that we need to do it. But I also know that I'm not always going to be the guy who's right, and I invite the collaboration because the ultimate goal isn't that I'm right. The ultimate goal is that the movie is the best it can be. So anything from suggestions while we're shooting to embracing, like within memory of embracing the fact that we've got 3 minds working on this and it's not just mine, and saying, okay, this movie is going to be better because Jason, Jackie, and I wrote it. It's going to be better than if I tried to write it myself. And just kind of embracing what other people bring to the table because it's all going to make the movie better. So just kind of having that attitude and expressing that to people, like, no, don't think that I'm the only one who gets to make any kind of suggestions or come up with any ideas. If you got ideas, I want to hear them. And then if they're better than what I had, which is very often, then they'll be implemented into the movie. So I think maybe people just like that I embrace that, and then they see that I will integrate their ideas and I will embrace the collaboration, and they feel an ownership of the finished movie because of it. I guess that makes people want to come back and collaborate again. I don't know. It's to my benefit because the movie ends up better. So there's nothing to complain about there. They're a good example of how I can make. Jason and Jackie specifically are a great example of how I would make those decisions, because Jason I've worked with so much in the past. I trust him completely. I knew it would be a positive experience writing with him. I knew it would be a positive experience making the movie with him. So I went in with this confidence, like this is going to be great. And then, but Jason kind of, earned that by making his own movies, his own shorts before he started working with me, and I'd seen those shorts and I was impressed with those shorts. He wasn't somebody who was sitting around doing nothing, waiting for me to say, here's your first big chance type of thing. He was working hard, and it was then, an honor for me to bring him into the team and have him make our movies better. And then it's kind of the same thing with Jackie, because we get people, emailing us from out of the blue, wanting internships, wanting to work on the movies, and we're interested in taking a look at anybody and everybody who's willing to come on board and work their ass off and, endure 17-hour shoots and sometimes freeze your ass off, or sometimes be, in the broiling heat or just under the most uncomfortable circumstances possible to make a movie with us. And Jackie sent me a short that she made called Amenity, so I knew that she had her head around the process. And then we met with her and just kind of to determine, well, if we get you heavily involved in this movie, are you going to be a lunatic and make this, a terrible experience for us all? So we met with her to just kind of get a vibe as to, how she would mesh with the team, and we loved her, and we knew it would be great to have her part of the team. And then on top of that, she recently graduated with a degree in screenwriting, so it's like I knew if she was in school for that, she was serious about it. And then probably the last piece of the puzzle is just talking movies. If she's like really into Michael Bay films but doesn't know who Fred Vogel is, then probably she's not going to be a great match for our team. But you talk movies with Jackie for 10 minutes and you realize she's one of us. So all of her experience leading up to contacting us and just having the same mindset and just understanding that it's not glamorous making an independent movie. It's grueling, it's brutal, it's long hours, it's tough. And seeing how interested she was in going through all of that, so you kind of figure it out quick once you start putting those pieces together. And she asked us for an internship, like she wanted to serve coffee on set. And from there it went to co-writing the screenplay, to then getting involved as a producer. And then while we were writing the screenplay, I was starting to think of her playing the lead role, but I didn't say anything to her. And we kept working on the screenplay for like a month before I brought it up to her. And because things can change as drafts of the movie are worked out. But yeah, when we there was a point early on in the writing process, I started thinking of her for the lead, and kept my mouth shut for a month, and then asked her to consider playing the lead. And so, she did such an amazing job on the writing part, and she knocked it out of the park as an actress, and we couldn't be happier that she joined the team and ended up doing a lot more than serving coffee on set. They bring something to the table that is either different than what I anticipated or better than what I anticipated routinely at every step of the process. So while we were writing the movie, it was, we did it in a really unique way. We worked on the treatment together, and then we took the treatment and we divided it up into like 35 segments or something like that, and then almost randomly just assigned those segments to the three of us. We went away and wrote our segments independently, and then towards the end of the writing process, stitched them together and started working together to fine-tune it. So it was nice for me to just say, okay, there's the sequence in the movie. I'm not going to think about it because Jason's going to write that or Jackie's going to write that. And then they'd send me their stuff, and it was, every time I'd read something that they sent, it was like, this is awesome. And just such a joy to have stuff coming in that was, different than what I thought or way better than what I thought it would be. And that happened throughout the entire writing process. And then as far as like the process of shooting the movie, every time they were on screen, every time the two of them had to act, there was always either something major or just a tiny nuance to the performances where I was constantly thinking, all right, we have the right people playing these roles. These two are totally killing it. So constantly, every day, they're bringing something to the table that I'm pleased with.
So Toe Tag's releasing this. How did that happen?
We spent more time, energy, and money making Deadwood Park than any other movie that we've made. It was a huge, 3-year process to make it, and it was the most it's not just the most logistically complex movie that we've ever done, but we're pretty sure at that budget level it's the most logistically complex movie that's ever been attempted. So I don't know if that makes us really brave or really stupid, but it was a big deal to try to pull off that movie on the tiny budget that we had. When the original distributor put the movie out, they wouldn't let us release it the way that we wanted to release it. We wanted to release it with all these bonus features and a feature-length behind-the-scenes documentary, and just kind of have something that stood and spoke of all the time and energy and heart and soul that we put into the film. And the original distributor wouldn't let us. And then it was not a positive experience for the rest of that business deal with that distributor. So we were all kind of really bummed about it, because we put so much effort into this movie, and it was one of the least it was one of the most disappointing distribution situations that we ever found ourselves in. And then we were thinking about re-releasing it ourselves, or we didn't know exactly what we would do with it when the distribution chart was up with the original distributor. And it was Fred and Shelby came to me and said, well, what do you think about Toe Tag releasing Deadwood Park? And it hadn't occurred to me, but the light bulb went on, and I was like, that actually makes a whole lot of sense. And we started talking about it. Finally, we made it happen. And the great thing about Toe Tag is that they're so supportive of what the filmmaker wants, and they're not in it to be like, well, we just need another title to stick in a box and put on a shelf and make some more money. They want it to be what the filmmaker wants to see out there for the fans to take a look at. And they were so supportive and so generous in letting us release it the way that we wanted to release it, with the 2-disc and the documentary and all the extra bonus features. It's just the generosity and the kindness and the willingness to let us finally present it the way we always wanted to present it was really cool. So it was. This has been very positive. Plus, we're all fans of Toe Tag. I'm a big Fred Vogel fan, and just having any kind of association with them, even if it's just at the distribution level, is a thrill for us. So we're very happy.
I am Jason Christ, and I'm with Wicked Pixel Cinema.
All right. So how did you get started with, in filmmaking altogether?
Well, I grew up in a real rural part of Missouri, south of St. Louis, Missouri, and kind of got it in my head that I wanted to get into movies. It was kind of the dawn of the mom and pop video store, and my parents actually opened up a video store, so that was kind of my first introduction to movies on a big scale. It's kind of, I guess, a typical Tarantino origin story. I grew up working in a video store as my first job, actually. And lo and behold, in my neck of woods, there was these other guys that were actually making some movies, and it turned out to be Eric Stanzi. And through this perseverance and I guess a little bit of luck, I ended up going to the premiere of the original Savage Harvest, and I introduced myself and said I really wanted to work with him. And our first collaboration was on Ice from the Sun, and I've been with him ever since. Well, with Ice from the Sun, I made my screen debut, I guess, as an actor. And of course, as it goes with independent films, you end up doing a wide variety of things. Since I was a filmmaker myself, I co-directed the feature-length Making of documentary, which was featured on the recent release of Ice from the Sun on from Image Entertainment. And Yeah, so that's pretty much how I got started. I was primarily an actor, but then I helped out in any way that I could. And with each successive movie, I just got to expand my repertoire in a variety of ways, from acting, screenwriting, producing, editing, everything.
What films were you in before Ice from the Sun?
That was Ice from the Sun was my debut. I made a few attempts, very bad attempts at making movies on my own. I didn't really know what I was doing, and so they were really bad. But you know, I guess everyone has to start somewhere. I'm no exception. And so yeah, Ice from the Sun was pretty much my foray into a more professional way of making a motion picture, just than anything I was doing on my own at the time. Yeah, Ice from the Sun, it was a very experimental, non-linear feature film, and it definitely is unique in the world of cinema, and it seemed to really sink to my own sensibilities as a filmmaker, because I really like filmmakers like David Lynch, who are very exploratory and off the cuff, and that film was definitely all over the place, and it really, I don't know, it was just a really unique first film experience, to be sure. From Ice from the Sun, we went on the scrapbook, and I didn't really have much of involvement in that film. I was a grip on it for a few days and did some voice work, but it was a very small, tight-knit crew, and since I was kind of the new guy, I just wasn't really involved in that film very much. I guess my inner workings with the company really jumped up with the next feature that we did, which was Deadwood Park.
Why is he still out there? Why hasn't anybody killed him?
Which I took on the role as an executive producer and had a supporting role in that.
Now, I heard mention that this upcoming film, In Memory of, that's a lot closer to Ice from the Sun thematically, stylistically.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, the new film that we just finished shooting, Ice from the Sun, does bear a lot of similarities to Ice from the Sun in terms of story structure and the visual presentation. I mean, it's going to be a real messed up experience. It's going to be its own thing and go light years beyond what we did in Ice from the Sun, which makes me really ecstatic. I'm really excited to see that film come together. I knew while we were making it that it was going to be a really interesting, unique picture, and I think I'm going to be pleasantly surprised. My expectations are going to be blown through the roof as the film starts taking shape as we begin post-production this fall. So, very excited to see how it turns out.
now, Wicked Pixel, you guys, do a lot of collaborative work. In memory of, working with a first-time writer, and there's three of you working together. Why does Wicked Pixel work so well?
Why does Wicked Pixel work so well? I don't know. I think we just present a level of passion and professionalism that's infectious. I think people are really drawn to the creativity that we infuse in everything that we do, because every film that we do is different from the one that came before. We really give people a hands-on experience when making motion pictures, and collaboration is a wonderful thing, and everybody brings something to the table. And I think that's a wonderful opportunity, particularly in the area that we're based in right now, which is in the middle of the Midwest, and there's not a lot of outlets or opportunities for people that are really wanting to express themselves or get into filmmaking. We foster a good family environment, and I think a lot of people appreciate that and want to be a part of that. So I think we offer a lot to people that come on board our productions. That's the reason why I've been with this company for over 20 years now. It's given me tremendous opportunities and unfathomable creative outlets. I can't get enough of it. And I'm very grateful to have that in my life.
My name is Jackie Kelly, and I am starring in Eric Stanzi's upcoming film In Memory of.
How did you get started as an actress?
Well, I'd been acting for a long time, since I was a little kid, but I'd been a fan, like a horror junkie for years, decades, and I met Eric like a year and a half ago, just out of the blue. He lived in the same city as me. I was going to school, and I found out that he was from St. Louis too, so I contacted him and basically just wanted like a little PA gig or anything. Like, I'll make you coffee, I'll do anything. I'm just a huge fan. I want to work with you guys. And it evolved from there, and I got the opportunity to co-write the script with Jason and Eric and to star in the film. So
why did they bring you on board in the writing process?
I was currently going to a small liberal arts school in St. Louis, and I was in the screenwriting program. So it wasn't like I had written anything noteworthy before. I guess they just saw something in me and we clicked. We liked the same movies and we all got along really well, which was nice, because you'd think when you have 3 writers that there's going to be a lot of butting heads, but it worked out really well, and I guess we just had chemistry from the get-go. So I was just as surprised, because they're these illustrious filmmakers and writers, and I'm 22, and it was just as big of a shock for me that they would. I remember calling my mom on the phone after they asked me to write with them, and I was driving home and screaming. I was so excited.
So at first, did you feel intimidated writing with them?
Incredibly, yeah. I respect them so much and what they do and their history and their whole career, and I was incredibly nervous. The first couple of writers meetings we had, I was very, not timid, I was trying to put myself out there, but I was really nervous to be working with people that, I put on a pedestal, obviously, because I'd been a fan for so long. So yeah, but now we've all warmed up and it's like one big family, so the intimidation is simmered away. And it's really cool.
Now, I know this isn't out yet, but without giving anything away about the story, is there anything that when you were working with them writing that you had to fight for? I want this, I really think this should be part of the story.
Not really plotty type stuff, but more tonal things. Like, I'm a huge fan of necromantic, and so I wanted, there were elements, I mean, the story's nothing like necromantic, even sort of, but that film has such a definitive tone, and so I feel like some of the scenes I wrote, I wanted to have a similar kind of eerie, but really visually artistic feel to them.
You talked about the visuals on the film. Did you contribute to the dialogue, or is that what you?
Yes, yeah. We kind of split it up into thirds. So before we started writing, we would sit down and we'd just develop the story and just the way the plot progresses, and then based on whose ideas belong to who, we'd split up the script, so I'd get scene 5 and I'd get scene 18 or whatever, and then it would just be cut up into chunks, essentially. So.
Is there a moment that you're looking forward to seeing on film, that you were going to claim as your own? It's like, yeah, that was my moment, that was my idea.
One in particular. So.
I understand if you can't. Is there a line that you wrote that you could share? That you're particularly proud of? Unless you're giving something away, this is fine.
Is there a line from the movie I can reveal?
You reveal whatever you want, except for the end.
I won't reveal the end. I'll just leave it open. I don't want to give anything away.
You could do the one line that's strange. It's been a strange journey.
It's been a strange journey.
Now you said you have acted before. What we might have seen you in?
Nothing. I've done some shorts. I have more of a theatrical background.
Okay.
I wrote and co-directed and starred in a short that I made a couple years back called Amenity, and I starred in a short called The Dress that's playing in a couple festivals. in 2015. So it's not a horror thing. It's like a gay rights kind of film.
Now, is this your first horror?
That I've starred in? Well, Amenity is a horror film. This is my first feature, though. Yes, this is my first feature.
Now, you said you came from a theater background. What was the biggest challenge for you going from theater to the screen?
Well, when you're on stage, your emotions and your expressions have to be so much bigger. Or when you have a camera right in front of you, it's so much more intimate, and so you have to tone down all of the emotions and like the crazy facial expressions. So I like doing film more though. They're just very different. The adrenaline rush you get on stage is a blast, and it's exhilarating and terrifying, but I like how intimate acting for film is. And it's just a lot different in terms of nerves, you know, because you don't get that nervous in front of a small crew of people, but when there's, you know, a 500-person audience, just in terms of adrenaline, it's completely different.
So, you're featured in the film?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Obviously, without giving it away, when it came to filming, what was your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge?
As an actress, what was the biggest challenge for you?
Well, there was this one scene we shot, because it's kind of a road movie, and so we shot some stuff, you know, through like Southwest. And there was, this is a stupid example, but there's one line that I guess it was, I'd studied the script so long and I helped write it, so I'd read it so many times, and I had paid more attention to these like emotionally strenuous scenes and how they were going to be performed. And then there's one small moment of like where I'm on the phone with someone, and it's just this small chunk, and I guess I hadn't put enough thought into how it was going to be delivered, and it was like the most straightforward, like throwaway line. So I guess the hardest stuff was for me was the stuff that wasn't as emotionally draining, just because I didn't prepare myself for it, I guess, if that makes sense.
No.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. So, what are you hoping to do next?
I have another project coming up in August that I'm acting in. And then after that, hopefully we'll get working on the next Wicked Pixel project, get the ball rolling. So.
And you writing on that?
I hope so.
Excellent.